Hey, it's Nigel, and welcome back to the Crew of Japan podcast, a weekly podcast where we take you on audio journeys through Japanese culture. In today's episode, we're discussing the wonders of Japanese arcades. That's right, if you've ever been to an arcade, this episode is for you. If you haven't, you're going to learn a lot. In today's episode, we discuss the kinds of arcades you can find in Japan.
You know, you'll have your basic small arcades that you'll find in like little shopping districts on shopping streets.
Tips on winning big on certain machines.
Don't aim for a particular one because that's not the goal. The goal is to create an avalanche.
And our favorite experiences at Japanese arcades.
Yeah, I've mostly done Puruka and made my face look pretty.
Well, without further ado, let's dive right on in.
All right, so we are back, the crew and I, to talk about Japanese arcades today. Now, I just wanted to get straight to the fun stuff, but I have these two with me, Doug and Nigel, and they refuse to skip over the history part of arcades. So, Doug, would you enlighten our listeners about the history of Japanese arcades?
Oh, I mean, I wasn't really going to go deep dive or anything like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
no,
feel
no,
like
no, no, no.
setting a
You
little
still
a little
wanted,
tone,
yeah.
a little context is never a bad thing.
Yeah, you
Um,
wanted to let everyone know about the history of the beginning, so go for it.
yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to know that, when arcades started to pop up? I mean, that was back in what, Nigel, the late 70s? I think it's when they started to boom.
Yeah, that's my
Um,
understanding as well.
yeah,
And I'm all for learning the history and the background, but this is actually a subject that I am not as familiar with as perhaps Jen you are, and maybe Doug you as well.
not really.
Um, I haven't, yeah, I haven't had that much experience, so this episode is also a learning experience for me as well. So I'm in the same boat, and will hopefully contribute some of the opinions and the thoughts of the lay person. So
The lay people of arcades. Yeah, no, I mean, again, I wasn't really going to go deep dive or anything like that, but I just thought it was cool that in doing some research about arcades, just to find out some snippets of information. I mean, the real launch of arcades was in the end of the 70s, and the game that took arcades to the next level was Space Invaders, which is if anyone familiar with
mm,
Space Invaders here, you've played it, I'm sure.
mhm.
Um, but that was the game that kind of catapulted the Game Center arcade revolution. A lot of times they were converting coffee houses into these arcades, and they called them invasion houses because it was Space Invaders. That was like the sole
Mm,
purpose of these places
wow.
in the beginning.
And of course, you're talking about like the cabinet games. I believe that's what they
Yep,
call them.
exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow, wow. Haven't seen one of those in a long time.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean that was kind of like the launching point, and it obviously grew vastly from there, and we're going to be talking about all the things that are available in the arcades there. So, that's all really I wanted to say about history. I didn't really have like a timeline or anything like that. I was just like I thought that, like the beginning place where it all kind of spawned from was just that one game. Space Invaders was really the piece that like set the tone for like game centers, and then from there it kind of sprouted its roots and or not roots, wings, branches, flower. I don't know, whatever the hell it sprouted. It did, it grew from there.
Yeah, and so another chance for me to get in a plug for Matt Alt's book. In his book, he actually has a good, fairly detailed discussion for the history and kind of the influence of the Japanese arcade. So again, we actually had Matt on in season 2, so we're gonna go ahead and plug his book in this episode as well.
Every
So
chance we
Pure
get.
Invention, yeah, every chance we get, go check out Matt's book, Pure Invention. Um, it's wonderful. And he was actually our first guest. So again, shout out to Matt. And yeah, he has a very good discussion on kind of the development of arcades all the way through to, today. And it was very good. And I think for the lay person, there's a lot of information that you will come across that you're kind of like, oh wow, yeah, I never really connected those dots and realized, how you get from Space Invaders to Donkey Kong and all these
Yeah.
different things. So really cool, really cool. part of his book, and I would highly recommend it.
And
So,
another thing too, that there's a Netflix series called High Score. It's focused mostly on the development and history of video games in general, but specifically the first episode highlights this Space Invader movement in Japan and talks. They have like the creator of Space Invader to actually interview in the episode, and they give a lot of detail and discussion about that and kind of how it branches over in Japan and kind of took over. So if that's your interest, and you have Netflix, and that might be something you might be interested in watching. If you haven't watched it already, I watched it during the pandemic last year, this year. This still going on. The pandemic's still going on, right? Uh,
yes.
Yes.
um, yeah. So that was it gives a lot of good detail into the Japanese history behind those arcades, as well as the influence it's had on the U.S. So,
But
but
that's where we're going to cap our
yeah, no,
history
no more history. We're
discussion.
done. We're done.
Yes, because we're not the experts in the history aspect, and it's just us today. So today we're actually going to focus more on the contemporary, I think. So Jen, what are we talking about?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the kinds of arcades that you'll find today in Japan. And, you'll have your basic small arcades that you'll find in like little shopping districts on shopping streets. These mostly consist of those famous UFO claw machines that make everyone furious. And also the capsule toys where you just kind of insert like 100 yen, or sometimes you'll have 300, 500 yen, and a little capsule comes out and a toy's inside the capsule. So you'll definitely find those in a good amount of places. You don't need to go to like a big arcade to find those. Um, but you do have bigger arcades. In our previous episodes, we did talk about the Sega arcade. Nigel, you and I actually experienced the one in Kyoto when it was open. It's no longer open, but it was. And I actually
Whoa.
still have a Sega coin.
Oh
I
wow.
never used it, so I have it still.
Wow, it's an antique item now.
Yeah, but because Sega arcades aren't as plentiful as they were a few years ago, probably one of the most popular bigger arcades is going to be Round One. I believe we even have a Round One here in the United States.
I've been around one.
Wow, okay. So that's really interesting. I've been to round one
Yeah.
in
Yes.
Japan, but I've never been to one here in the US. Where's that one?
Yeah, I think it's like it's going to be either like in Las Vegas
Oh, okay.
or somewhere on the West Coast, I believe.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Cool. I thought you were saying there's one here in
Yeah,
Louisiana.
yeah.
Okay. So
No.
I was
No,
very
no, no, no,
impressed.
no, no,
Wow.
no.
Okay. Um. Wow.
No.
Yeah. Round one is awesome.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of everything, huh?
Yeah, no, it's huge. For those of you who have never been to a Round One, it is a multi-floor arcade. It's massive, and the first floor is usually those good old UFO traps. They really trap you in with all the prizes that are in the machines that you can try and win. You say that you're gonna spend maybe $5, but you end up spending 20.
I mean,
That
you could just pay the person, right?
No, you can't pay the people. You gotta
It's a
act.
callback. I had a callback to the year in review app just because yeah,
You've gotten
Yeah,
scammed.
no, you have to put money into the machine.
slide some yen into the person.
No, no,
Hey,
no,
you
no.
16-year-old kid, come here. Here's 1,000 yen. Give me that damn stuffed animal.
No. I mean, you can go to like a figure store and go buy like a used figure from the figure store, but you will definitely be spending 50, $80 on a figure.
Hmm. Yeah. Not desirable.
So, something to think about. You could potentially be saving money going to the arcade instead. Just something to think about, Doug, since you're
That's a
really big on just
loose
buying.
meaning of saving money.
Yeah,
S-
however you want to look at it.
So here's one thing before you transition to the next thing that you can find. Um, one thing that I thought was interesting is when I got to Japan, people were like, "Okay, let's go to the UFO, machine," and I'm like, "The UFO machine? That's not actually like that's we don't really call it that here, right?
No, we call it usually just claw machines.
Yeah.
Like a claw machine, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a difference that if you're going to an arcade for the first time." just, be on the lookout for it, and because that kinda caught me off guard initially. I was like, "A UFO machine? Oh, that sounds interesting," and then got to it. It's like,
It's like UFO catcher? What?
yeah, yeah, so there's a minor difference in, the
Terminology.
phrasing of what they yeah, terminology, there you go, what they call the machines, but it's the same claw machine that we use here in the United States, and they are equally as rigged. No, I'm just kidding.
You
Maybe they aren't,
They don't tie the stuffed
but
animals to the ground, and then you can't, like, actually, like, pick them up or weight them.
yeah.
No, but I actually have some tips for our listeners.
Oh, okay.
If they want to go to the arcade and try, I'm gonna share some tips a little later because it really isn't rigged. Like there is tricks to it. You just gotta know the tricks.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah,
That's good to
yeah.
know. You must have your own gloves for the
No, no, no,
arcade
no, no,
then.
no, 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 no. I've just watched a lot of people do it, and so I've learned what to do and what not to do.
Oh, okay. There's a method to it.
Yeah. There is. There really is.
Alright, I'm curious. You've piqued my interest.
Well, I'll pique your interest a little bit more later,
Right, my bad.
but, for now, a little bit more of what's there. So, usually on the first floor, you'll also find, purikara machines. These are photo booths, essentially. You and a couple of friends, you go in and you do some cute poses, and it takes, like, what, 3, 5 photos of you, and, then you can go outside and kinda decorate it as much as you want, and then it prints out, and you get to have some photos of you and your friends.
Yep.
Very popular in Japan. I mean, it's so weird. Have y'all ever done purikara before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and you'll never see the photos.
Well, for y'all, I can imagine it's really weird because even if you're a guy, it, like, totally masks your face, almost like you're wearing makeup.
It's like the original Instagram filter.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good
It's so
point.
crazy. So I love it because it, like, tones down the redness in my face, and it takes away, like, my pimples. But, yeah, I think I remember I went with a couple of friends, and a few of them were guys, and, like, whoa, just the transformation was crazy.
You see me fidgeting over here. I'm
Yeah.
looking around for my Purikura photos. I think I had some over here on my
Uh-oh.
desk somewhere. So
Don't let us find those.
Mine are actually on my
Oh,
fridge
wow.
in my house.
I got some from with family. Then I got some from college and then study abroad and then jet. I have from all over.
Wow, so you've actually done a lot of purikara
Yeah,
machines.
wow.
Yeah, if you have friends that are girls, they love Purikura and you get dragged into it quite a bit. So
I know you were going to those machines by yourself, Doug.
the lonely guy doing Purikura.
Yeah.
There are sections that sometimes you go and there's like ladies only like sections or subdivisions in those Purikura areas. Just a FYI. Usually they have signage and I think it's in English and Japanese, but sometimes it's just only girls for reasons of, creepy people.
As we move on, usually you can go up an escalator to the second floor, and this is where you'll find your typical arcade games. So these are like your racing games, your fighting games, there's rhythm games, which are really, really popular in Japan, and your card games. Um, so, you know, at this point, there are so many arcade games to choose from, and it's not like your typical old school 80s arcade. This is like, I don't even know how to describe it, how the arcade games have just exceedingly advanced from back in like the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the 80s and 70s and even 90s, you had those big square box machines, right? They weren't very aesthetically pleasing. You had maybe some pictures and designs on the side and maybe on like the overhang where it has like the name of the game at the top and then it has like the joystick and the buttons that you press. And that's it. I mean, it wasn't very decorative. But I know what you're
Mhm.
talking about, Jen. Like the new games now, like the cases are sleek and colorful and kind of very they attract your attention from afar,
Not
and it's
only
very
that,
loud.
it's very loud, and then not only that, but I feel like these new arcade games are very more involved. Like, it's no longer just click a button and steer your, like, character around. Like, you have to physically move sometimes. It's, like, really more involved kind of gaming.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
evolved to become much more interactive, you know, and that's what struck me when I, like, got to that next level, you know, in the building. It was kinda like, "Whoa," you know, there's you could probably get a good workout just going to the arcade over going to the gym.
Total body workout.
Yeah, you could get like, doing DDR, you know, Dance Dance Revolution, because that was one that, you know, I saw everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that stuff, I mean, talk about burning some calories. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I
Well, that
would
one in the
play I w
taiko.
yeah, the taiko
taiko,
drums,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
played that, and that's a workout, which, oh my gosh, if you see, like, a hardcore person playing that game, it is ridiculous. You were talking about
Oh, yeah.
gloves earlier, Nigel. These
Mhm.
Yep.
dudes have gloves, and they are serious.
Yes, and that is where I first saw it. And, like, when we say gloves, Jen, maybe you can describe this better, but we're not talking about just, like, latex gloves, you know, that they're putting on.
Yeah, no, 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 no.
No, these are like fingertipless gloves where they pull it on. It's got the grips and the,
Yeah, like, it's
Yeah,
serious.
yeah.
they start stretching their fingers like this and do all these like finger exercises.
I've seen people, I got there and maybe this was just, you know, maybe I was seeing something that was weird and one off, but I saw people had cases for their gloves, you know, like it was intense, you know, like this was not just like, you know, it's not just like hopping on to play a game casually. You know, there's people who take this like really serious and it's a competition, you
Oh,
know, and you can
definitely.
really compete at high levels. So, you know, and again, like we've talked about in past episodes, you know, Doug, you and I love sports. So it's really cool to see someone really compete, even if it's, you know, at like a, you know, arcade or taiko drumming. It's really cool just to watch in the arcade
Yeah.
as well, even if you're not playing.
Yeah.
And then, like I said before, there is another game. I call it a card game because I don't know what it is exactly. I just see a ton
It's
of
like the horses.
no, I see a ton of people playing it. So what it is it's your typical arcade game, but you're sitting down and kind of think of it as have y'all seen Yu-Gi-Oh,
Of course.
Duel. Yeah.
Doug?
Oh my god.
Okay, so that means yes. Anyway, so y'all have seen Yu-Gi-Oh. So think of it as like a Yu-Gi-Oh layout, and you have to put your cards down on like the surface of the layout. And that's what this like arcade game is. Like you come in with your deck of cards, it seems like, and you play against other people or the computer, it looks like. I honestly don't know because I haven't tried because I don't even know what's going on myself. But they're actually pretty popular.
Yeah, it looks like a hefty investment. It's not just come in and drop a couple coins in and play a game. It's like you are investing in this and building your deck or characters or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And like it's for multiple things. Like I use Yu-Gi-Oh as an example, but like I've seen like so many franchises that they're playing these card games for, and it's that's another series. I find that when you go into a Japanese arcade, they're very serious about playing the games.
Oh yeah. I,
Very
I've noticed,
serious.
especially those card games, because again, you're sinking actual like legitimate coin into those. Like you have to pay to get these top tier cards, and then so I guess I would understand why they would take it seriously if you're investing in as your hobby and what you like to compete in.
Yeah.
Do you right? Like, but I've seen those like kind of Yu-Gi-Oh level games, and then I've seen ones where it's like we mentioned the horse racing. There's like horse
Yeah,
racing where
the
you have
horse
like a
racing.
kind of
Well,
like
the horse racing's betting, and that's
is that no is it
on
betting
an
though?
yeah, that's a because I've done one before,
Is
and
it?
that's on a different floor.
Even though
That's on a different
gambling is
floor.
illegal, right? So it's not betting. It's
Yeah,
betting,
so
but
it's
it's
not really
not.
Yeah.
gambling, yeah, because gambling's illegal, correct, so, they don't call it gambling, but I definitely call it gambling because if they spot you and you don't look 22,
Oh.
they're gonna ask you to leave.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah,
have you ever seen um they have like bug fighting ones
I've never seen that.
Mm-mm.
where like you fight
No.
bugs? I want to say they have like cards with the bugs, kind of similar to the
Hmm.
Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. But like you would basically have these cards and you would charge them or whatever and then you would go play the game. Um and then there's a train game. Like you are playing a game where
I've
you are the
seen
train
that one,
conductor.
Oh,
yeah.
I've seen that. That's a totally different yeah, that's like a
That
game,
looks
yeah.
really
Yeah.
cool, though.
Like those are like those like kind of like real life simulation
Yeah.
type like things that you don't see. I mean, there's not really arcades here, but
Yeah.
like you don't see that here. Like I don't see that in the States, you know, like those kind of games
Yeah.
in a public setting. You may do it online or whatever, but
Yeah, the more interactive games are gonna be on that 2nd floor with, like, all the other games, like, anything interactive. So, like,
yeah.
I remember going to the arcade one time and there was, like, this Tetris game, but, like, physically there was Tetris, like, there were these blocks,
Oh, wow.
and you had to, like, stack them a certain way and, like, physically stack
Wow.
them. It was so crazy and weird.
Was that at the one in Kyoto or somewhere
I
else?
believe it was the one in Kyoto. Yeah.
Wow, okay, I missed that, but no, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And then they even have, like, I know it was a meme, a few years ago, but they actually have, like, a arcade game where you flip a table, and you have to see how hard you flip the table compared to other people.
Hmm. So it's
And you
basically yeah.
physically have to flip a table.
It's like the advanced version of the punching bag game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
How strong are you to punch this bag?
that's pretty cool.
But, yeah, if you're not into, arcade games, they do have those gambling games, like slots and pachinko on its own separate floor. Like I said, the workers, if they spot you and you don't look the appropriate age, they will confront you. So watch out for that. You'll know when you're on the floor.
Is that a personal story? Were you confronted?
Yes'ums. Yes'ums.
I figured, okay.
So, you know, those gambling games that they have, the slots, do they like what do you get?
I don't know.
Like that's what I've always wondered. Like you get these tokens, these little golden coin tokens or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The slots are like the ones where they push the coins and stuff, you know, the different things like you flip a coin in or I don't know. But there's a bunch of stuff. What is the purpose? I never like when I've gone, I've done it and then I'm like, okay, now what?
I don't know.
Do
I've
you
done it
exchange them for
too.
something? Do you
I
have like
don't know.
prizes?
Well, I'm sure
See,
you
here's the
exchanged
thing.
it.
Hopefully one of our listeners out there knows, and then they can tweet us or social media us or email us at
Yeah.
crewofjapanpodcast@gmail.com and let us know because I have no freaking clue.
Well, I know for sure.
Wait, so you played it?
Yeah, I played it. I played it because it was anime themed, so I was like, "I'm gonna put a coin in."
Ah, they got
And I
you.
kinda just kept playing until I lost because I knew what 0 meant. So I had 0 credit. But, like, I know for sure because it's gambling, they can't give you the prize there. So whatever it is, you have to take it and probably go somewhere else to receive whatever you're gonna receive. But I don't even know
The
what that
old pachinko
is.
switcheroo.
Yeah. So I have no clue, but I did try it once just because curiosity. But yeah, I honestly have no idea how to work on any of those gambling games. Uh, it flies over my head with that. So, no
Yeah.
clue.
Well, it has to
But
be a like a you take it to exchange it for a prize. I mean, if it were exchanging it for like money, then it'd just be outright gambling, right? So
yeah.
Right.
certainly there's some type of prize
Yeah,
somewhere.
somewhere. Who knows? But because I was kind of talking about round 1 specifically for these bigger arcades, round 1 is very unique in the sense to where not only do they have arcade games galore, but you can also do like bigger activities like bowling is a big one at round 1. It even has a bowling pin in their little logo. So they have other things besides arcade games. They have other activities that you can you know purchase.
And
So
that's
yeah.
actually the reason why when I went to round one, it's only been a couple times, and because the one we were nearby in Fukushima was it was in Fukushima City, which is like a 2-hour bus ride from where I was at. So I didn't go too often, but we would usually go for the bowling when we did go, and maybe it was in Koriyama. I don't know. Anyway, bowling, and then I think they had like basketball, like trampoline basketball. Like they had these like
Oh wow.
or maybe I'm confusing stuff, but they had like the kind of like you know how they have the trampoline places where you can go the trampoline gyms where you can kind of go and bounce around and
Yeah.
stuff. I think they had stuff like that, and then they had like actual basketball courts. And for some reason, maybe I'm conflating two ideas, but I want to say they had like a basketball goal in one of the trampoline areas, so that way you can play basketball while you are jumping around. So I know it was very popular among the Jets during the Jet program when I was there. That was kind of like a common place where people would go and hang out like for fun
Yeah.
on like a weekend. But yeah, like when I hear round one, I think of like bowling. I don't
Yeah.
even think of it as
Yeah.
an arcade.
How? You have to pass up all the arcade stuff to get to the bowling.
To get
Well,
to
you
the
just get in the
bowling, yeah.
elevator and go straight to the top.
Yeah, same here. I went bowling at round 1. Bowling, darts, pool, like, all of
Yeah,
that
they have
in
darts. Yeah, they
addition
have a bunch of
to
stuff.
yeah, in addition to the, like, actual playing the arcade games, so really amazing concept, and like many other buildings, in Japan, like department stores and stuff, it's built vertically, not horizontally. So you're
Yeah,
going up to different floors, and it's just such a cool concept because that again is like a difference than here. A lot of our buildings here, especially malls and department stores, they are built horizontally out and not necessarily up, but
yeah.
Yeah.
um so I think the round one, maybe I don't know what how many floors would y'all guess it had?
5 or 6
I mean, there's 5 or 6.
Right, so
usually.
imagine an
Yeah.
arcade that's 5 or 6 floors, I
And
mean,
I do
amazing.
think one of those floors is like partially parking. I think they sometimes do have like parking lots built into them. So, it's maybe 5 or 6 floors of the building, but not all of it's full on like activities and things to do. Um,
Mhm,
and you brought up darts, and that's like another thing. I completely forgot about darts, but I feel like in not necessarily just arcades, but like darts is really big in Japan as a whole. I don't know if you've noticed
mhm,
that. But like at arcades,
yeah,
but also at like bars and stuff. You'll see like the arcade dart machines where you can play people through the machine, like in a competition, like on the dartboard. So it's pretty cool, and I'm
yeah,
sure that's the same type of concept that they use in the arcades. But it's darts isn't really big here. Or at least I don't play darts.
mhm.
I mean, people play it when I go to certain places, but um, it's really big from what I noticed, and like the arcade scene, the bar scene. It's kind of one of those bar game type things.
Yeah, yeah, Jen, have you played darts in arcade?
Not in Japan. I've
Okay.
done darts here in the US, but, not
Was
in
it actually
Japan.
like the dart board and like actual darts, or was it a like arcade version, like with a screen and everything?
Actual darts,
Yeah,
old school.
yeah, same. That's like anything I've played here has been like just the old. There's like a hanging
Yeah,
dartboard on
yeah,
the
yeah,
wall, and you
yeah.
just stand and try not to accidentally throw it at somebody.
Yeah,
Hopefully no one crosses in front of you when you're standing across the room throwing this dartboard.
yeah.
Uh, oh man, giving flashbacks of college bar nights, and yeah, I didn't pin anybody with a dart. Just to clarify.
Well, thank God.
Yeah, I know. I don't even know where we're going after that. I completely, anyways, just
I
out of
can
the.
rein us back in
Jen,
because I'm
bring
used
us
Do
to
your
your
back.
job, man. Rein us back
shenanigans.
in. Take us off of me concealing a dart killed human. Hurry.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
used
my
to,
god.
your shenanigans, Doug. Anyway, so that is typically what you'll find at bigger arcades. So, that was a lot of information for our listeners. So I kind of want to do like a how to start kind of thing. So like once you get in, what is it that you need to do? Well, the first thing you need to do if you want to participate in any of these things is you need to exchange your yen that you have for machine coins. And you can do this at a typical like machine coin like thing where you insert the dollar bill and coins just come out. You can ask for a bag at the arcade. The attendants will give you one, but
Oh,
if you
really?
have yeah, they will.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. And sometimes they'll even have like little baskets too that you could put the coins in if you're getting like a ton of coins. But if you have your own bag, that's a tip that you can use is just bring your own bag for your coins.
You can
Um
also get a coin purse, pretty much at
yeah.
Daiso or anywhere. It's like super cheap, like 100 yen. Or bring your own, or just bring a Ziploc bag.
That's what I thought you were
I,
gonna say. I thought you were gonna be like, "Oh, just bring a konbini bag."
I did that. I'd bring like a Ziploc bag around and like But I would be like, "Oh my god, it's so embarrassing. Why are you bringing a Ziploc bag?" So I ended up, like, going and getting a actual coin purse from somewhere because being a coin-based society or a cash-based society, straight cash homie, you need to be aware that you're gonna be lugging around coins in general, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to the arcade, you're gonna have actual money and then funny money.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be asking for bags anyway, because like if you are planning to do a lot of UFO machines and you're planning to like really getting a lot of things, you're gonna also be asking for a bag to carry all those winnings that you're gonna get. So they will have bags available for you to like hold everything in and take with you, like plastic bags.
So for the UFO catchers,
Yes.
and maybe I'm thinking in non like big arcade settings and more local and smaller ones. But even at the bigger arcades, do the UFO catchers just take cash or do you need to exchange into coin?
You need to exchange for coin, like
Okay.
their coin.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know at a lot of the smaller places you can just put like your 100 yen or 500
Mm.
yen or
Yeah, that
even send
for
in,
capsule toys, you can do that. For the capsule machines, you
yeah,
can just do regular yen, but if you're trying to do the UFO machines, you have to do regular, like their arcade coin.
got it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, after you do that, you're pretty much set to kind of roam around and go wherever you need to go. But specifically for the UFO machines, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on, how to earn yourself some prizes without, I don't know, wanting to murder people.
What we've all been waiting for. And don't use darts if you do that, by the way.
We gotta watch out, we're giving away trade secrets here, so that this episode might get censored.
No, they're not secrets. They're not secrets. You can find them online.
Just gonna be like Jen's talking. It's like,
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna get yanked down by the UFO makers, so, beware, Listen to this as soon as it comes out.
So, you might want to go for the easier ones first. That way, you're not really putting yourself down from losing. So, the easiest machines are going to be the machines that have the very, very, very tiny prizes, like the very tiny, like plushies or keychain, like little plush keychains. They're like stacked on a mountain. I don't know how else to like describe it. They're like just all stacked there. What you're gonna do really is really, really simple. Like these are the easiest ones to win. All you're gonna do is take the claw, you're gonna aim it towards like the middle, and you kind of gonna do it to where like don't aim for a particular one because that's not the goal. The goal is to create an avalanche to where the mountain of little tiny plushies just tumble down, and then voila, you win prizes. Very easy.
yep,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting
Yeah.
concept there, I gotcha.
Yeah, if you don't think about it, then yeah, you're gonna think of, oh, claw machine. I need to aim for one particular one, which no, 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 no. If you do it my way, you can possibly get more than one thing.
What you gotta do is you gotta grab at like the middle, like the middle you
Yeah.
said, but like in the middle of a bunch of them, so that way when
Yeah.
the claw also opens, it kind of
Yeah,
pushes
you
stuff too,
want you
right?
want the claw to not grab on. You want it to push because like I said, you want to create an avalanche to where a bunch of prizes fall down at once.
Okay. So that's not rigged? I mean, if you
No,
want the
it's not
claw to
rigged.
push instead of pick up, I mean,
For those machines, yes.
I mean, you could still technically win. You know, it's possible to still win by aiming. You just got to be precise with your precision.
Yeah, no, it is. I've actually done it before, but it kinda screwed me over because I did, like, aim for a particular one because it was, like, a prize things of Shibas, and I wanted a particular color, so I was like, "I need that one." And I grabbed onto it, but, like, the claw wrapped around the plushie's, I guess, collar, so, like, it didn't
uh,
fall, it was
That's when you
stuck
call
on the
the
claw,
attendant. Yeah.
and
yeah.
it stayed there, so I had to get an attendant. That's exact I was like, excuse me, I think I won, but I what do I do?" So she like,
They just knock it back down and be like, "Try again, sucker."
no. She took it down and gave it to me. But yeah, so you just gotta watch out for stuff like that. Sometimes mishaps like that can happen, but like Doug said, you just call the attendant over
And
and they'll
slide
help
some money
you.
into their hand and be like, "Hey."
No, stop
I
it.
the key you brought up the keychain ones, and I kind of agree there because like it gives them some. It also gives like the claw something extra to hook onto instead of just like the body of the
Mhm.
plushie or figure or whatever, but actually like the hook or the little keychain strap. And I actually got
Yeah.
one for my son at Don Quixote. Like they had the claw machines and stuff outside when you walk in. And yeah, I it was Oshiri Tante. Do you know what Oshiri Tante is? The
Mm-mm.
butt detective.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Those
I've heard of
things,
that.
dude.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like a
yeah.
little boy, and his face is a
It's a
butt,
butt.
and he defeats his bad people by farting on them out of his mouth. It's absolutely
No
atrocious when you watch it. But
comment.
and his dog, his like sidekick's name is Brown.
Yep, yep.
If you haven't heard of it, it's for kids. And you see, yeah, some of the weirdest crap for kids. No pun intended there.
Sneaky, sneaky.
But but anyway, like he had like a little Oshiri Tante. He was kind of into it. Had was one of the shows on Netflix he had been able to watch, and they had it in English and Japanese. So um, we were switching it over to him practice his Japanese, and then so we saw that, and we're like, all right, let's try to get that for him, and then hooked onto the keychain, like you said. Just when you scoop it, we missed the body, but then it clipped like this, like one of the little like metal bulbs on the keychain, and just ended up hooking on. So that is the way, or this is
Yep,
the way.
that's the way for the tiny, prizes. Now, say you find the biggest Piplup plushie in your life in one of these machines. For those of you who don't know what Piplup is, it's a Pokemon. But, say you find a huge Pokemon plushie and you're like, "I want that. I need that in my life." For big plushies, what you wanna do, which obviously you're not gonna get in one shot like those little ones, you're gonna have to take some time with it to maneuver it over, but you wanna aim to grab onto the heaviest part of the plushie, which is most likely going to be the head, but you really need to see what the plushie is configured like. See which part, if the body is heavier or if the head is heavier, and you want to aim at grabbing the heavier part. The reason why is because if you grab the softer part, the lighter part, the heavier part is going to weigh it down and you're not going to be able to move it as much. So like I said, it's not going to be a one and done kind of thing. You're going to have to work at it, but it is possible to get those bigger plushies. You just have to aim for the heavier part of the plushie. And, if you feel like you're having super amount of trouble, like you maybe tried 10 times already, and you're like, this is annoying. I can't do it. You can actually ask for an attendant to help you. You can tell them like you're having a difficult time, like this is hard. And they'll position the plushie in a good position for you to where they kind of almost make it yours. Like, all you have to do is grab it and it's yours.
Now that is amazing.
So if you position some cash in their hand, they'll position it in a.
No, you don't have to pay them. Stop it.
Oh, I seem to have dropped 1,000 yen on the ground. Where'd that come from?
No, they'll move the plushie for you for free.
So let's just confirm this. So, Doug, I guess you have been ripped off by paying them to do this for you.
No, I haven't.
No, you
I
haven't.
swear I've
Okay.
heard somebody say that. Someone told me like you can you can talk to them if you've struggled enough and been like, hey, like all right, so I like Chuck E. Cheese, like everything's like purchased by tickets, right? But you can actually buy the items on the shelf too.
Right.
You just pay a price instead of like the tickets. So it's actually cheaper to buy the item
Yeah.
if you really want something at Chuck E. Cheese than it is to play the
Yeah.
game to win it. So I remember somebody saying that you could do something like that, but maybe again, I don't know. I will look
So
it up.
they've been scammed.
Maybe, I don't know.
I've never heard that in my life.
But I mean, if they got the item and they put money in the person's hand, then is it a scam? Seems like fair trade.
When you could have done it for free, I guess.
I guess yeah. That's point. That's a good point there. Anyway, reel it back in, Jen. All right.
There's so many interesting topics.
Yeah, reel it back in. Yeah, you guys. But you may find a UFO machine that has a figure in it. And obviously this figure is going to be in a box. It won't be, just standalone a figure. And these are kind of tricky because the figure is usually going to be on like these 2 or 3 balance bars. And you have to get the box in between the bars. And this is going to be a struggle for many people. You're going to get aggravated and you're going to be working at it. Once again, this is not a one and done kind of thing. Um, and what you're going to do is you're going to maneuver the box. So, how you're going to do that is you're going to take the claw machine and you're going to lift one of the edges and you're going to turn it so that way it's on its side. So, it's easier to slip through the bars. What I just said sounded easy, but it's actually pretty difficult, but it is possible. So do not be discouraged. Sometimes you'll find these figure machines where like it's brand spanking new and they're, no one's touched it, so you have to really work at it. Sometimes you'll find these machines where someone's already done most of the work for you and all you have to do is kind of do some finishing touches cuz they got aggravated and left. So you really just need to pick your battles with those. Um, like I said, if you really want the figure, you could go to a used figure shop and buy it, since that seems to be Doug's go-to way of doing things. But you may possibly be spending more money than it's worth. So just a heads up there.
But you don't get the sense of accomplishment of winning.
Exactly. So there you go. That's what UFO machines.
That's what we really need,
Yes,
right?
that's what the UFO machines are for, a sense of accomplishment.
I want to feel like a
Yeah,
winner.
there you go. And sometimes you'll find these figures in the boxes, but the goal isn't to move the box physically. They have like a tab on the box that has a hole in it. These are different. You what you have to do is you have to take the claw machine and the claw has to go into this hole, the tab hole, and when the claw machine lifts, you want to hope that it kind of tips the box over off the edge. Um, it's going to take a few tries. You won't get it in one because these claw machine claws are a little flimsy. But it is definitely possible. You just have to really work at it.
And you still say they're not rigged.
Not rigged, no.
So, you know what, though? So I was Googling while we're talking here about paying attendance for UFO
Oh,
catchers.
jeez.
Uh-oh.
And
He has a
while I couldn't
smile
find
on
that
his
answer,
face.
I found a couple of different websites and blogs and posts and whatever. And one I was looking at, it said bonus tip: avoid Sega arcades because they are complete scams.
Oh, snap.
So that's one person's opinion. I mean, it's obviously um not the most truthful. Who knows? That's just their opinion.
Yeah, you can't just say the entire arcade by one company is a scam, but
Yeah, that sounds maybe that it was written out of anger.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, one of the paragraphs says almost all the games feel rigged or desire to lure in unsuspecting customers. The best tip of all is just not giving them any money.
Written by
Interesting, yeah.
unsuspecting
It's-
customer.
Sounds like a sore loser. That's what that sounded like.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, those the ones you just described, Jen, I've seen those, and yeah, those seem like on the scale of difficulty, they seem pretty close to the top. Would you agree?
Yes, if you don't know what you're doing. So like I said, you want the claw to go one of the claws to go into the hole of the tab, but you want it to do it on the furthest edge of the hole. So like you know how when you press the button and then the claw like pops out and it goes
Yeah.
down?
Yeah.
You want
Mhm.
the pop out section to be as close to the hole as possible. You don't want to be in the middle of the hole. You want to be as close to the edge of the hole. Because when the claw snaps shut, that's going to be the optimal tipping point of that figure box.
Hmm. Okay.
So you got to really think about it. Guys, it's just physics.
Hopefully you can get to a machine that has the sides accessible into as well as the front, because I know me personally when I do these, I'm like looking at it from the front, and then I'll crane my head around the side
Yeah.
and like look at like try to do the math and the geometry and the algebra
Yeah.
and the trigonometry and the calculus and all that crap. I'll try to do all that in my brain, my simple smooth brain over here, and try to figure it out and then just fail. But
Well,
yeah, no, I think
for since we cannot travel to Japan right now, for obvious reasons, you know, what you can do for listeners who really want to give crane games a try, like right now, there's actually a very reliable website. I've actually played it, and I can confirm that they give you the prizes that you win, and it's not rigged. I actually have a few figures on my shelf from this website.
Whoa.
Um, it's a fun little crane game website called Toreba, Toreba. Super, super fun. What it
Wow.
is
Okay.
yeah, it's a website that you can go on, and you can buy like their website credit, which are just like points. And you use these points to play the claw machines, and you can get different like little prizes like figures and plushies. Um,
huh.
and it's the exact same games you get in Japan. There's someone there observing, the crane games and what you're winning and stuff. And they send it to you. Whatever you win, they send it to your address. And I actually have some JoJo figures from that website. So
That's
you
Huh.
could try. You
really
could,
That's
cool,
cool.
actually.
yeah, if you
Yeah.
want to practice before you head over to Japan and do it yourself, you could do it online. It's really, really fun. Very frustrating, but fun at the same time. And, Doug, you were talking about positioning yourself so that way you can look at the crane and where it is. On this website, they have cameras that you can switch to try and look at your angling.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's really cool.
For
Oh,
So,
all the
cool.
smooth brain people out there.
yeah, so if you wanna give crane games a try, and we can't travel to Japan, this website is actually a really good way to get into the crane game culture.
Cool.
How did you even
I
find
was
that?
bored during COVID.
Yeah, I mean, I googled it just now and it looks cool.
Yeah, I just did a Google search for it as well. So it looks like you can even play it on your phone
Yeah, yeah, you
as
can play it
well.
on your phone, you can play it on your computer. Yeah, I mean, it has some really neat prizes, especially if you like figures. I mean, you can get a lot of good figures there.
They got these little plushy Shiba Inu.
Yeah.
They look like bread.
Yeah, yeah. The mascot's a little pink cat.
Cool. I had no idea. I might actually try that.
Yeah, it says you get what, 5? Yeah, 5 free
5
attempts.
free tries.
Y'all should totally try it.
I wonder if it's virtually rigged too. First 5 times or can't
Well,
win.
Jen said she's won something, a couple things, so that's
Won the
pretty
free
cool.
tries?
Yeah, I've won JoJo figures.
Wow.
Huh.
And then you buy more credit if you wanna play more.
Wow. So these methods you've just described to us work via, this virtual experience
Yeah,
too. Wow.
yeah.
Jen, this sounds like a great opportunity to stream on Twitch.
I know, right?
We don't have a Twitch, guys.
Well,
Well, it looks like we need to make one.
during the off season.
I know. This could blow up, I totally could see that.
Have to just schedule times on and announce it.
But yeah, so that's all my tips for y'all, for our listeners. So if you want to give them a try, there's a source that you can use since we can't travel. Um, and we kind of talked about like little stories that we've had for our crane game experiences. Do y'all have any? I know y'all's experience with arcades were minimal, but do y'all have any like little stories to tell? I mean, Doug, you seem to have like a really big hatred for crane games, so I'm kind of wondering what.
No, I don't hate them. I hate them because I like to do them and I lose all the time. That's the
Oh,
only
okay.
reason I hate
I
them.
thought there
But
was like a really scarring moment for you.
no, 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 no. The only thing scarring is my wallet's
Uh,
emptiness. And that was even then. It's fun. I try to cap myself. I'm like, all right, I got $5 or 500 yen. I'm not gonna spend more than this. Or okay, maybe $10 capped. So no, I would, like I said, I went to round ones and stuff like that, but most of the time if I went to an arcade, it was something a little bit on the smaller end, like you had mentioned. They they'd have the ones in department stores, that I would go to with some friends, just if we were going out and shopping or getting food, and just happen to like kind of wandering around. Or even like one thing I noticed too is supermarkets in rural areas, at least where I lived. They would have like a little corner that's like a game corner,
Oh, okay.
and it would have one or two like kind of like arcade games, and then you'd have maybe your taiko game, and then a claw machine or two, and then some little what do they call, what do you call them again? Oh my god, why did my
Capsule
brain go
toys?
blank here? Capsule toys, yes. They would they would have those. So you would have a few options even at your smaller grocery stores. Um, would have the options like that. So a lot of my experiences probably with more purikura than with actual like playing arcades, because I also thought it was just sometimes you go, especially in like Akihabara or any of the big area arcades, you're overwhelmed with options, but also there's a lot more fierce competition where you're like, okay, why do I really want to sink my money into waiting and then losing to this guy over here who's been playing for like 2 hours straight, just destroying people. So yeah, I've mostly done purikura
Mm.
Gotcha, gotcha.
and made my face look pretty.
Wow. So yeah, I've done a lot of the UFO machines, and that I'm not bitter towards it. I've actually been able to win a couple things from them, but
Oh, that's good.
yeah, I think that it's incredibly fun and incredibly addicting,
It
and
is.
that can be the most frustrating part, like Doug was saying. So, for your wallet, but yeah, no, for me, during the study abroad experience, just with arcades, the memories that I have are really good because it's going with American students and also Japanese students, all of us going together to the arcade and seeing what we could win and, just the excitement of everyone cheering you on and saying, "Oh, oh, oh, you almost got it." And like, it's really fun with a group, you know.
Yeah.
I imagine if you're going by yourself, then you probably have different reasons, more
Yeah,
so maybe competition. You could also, be going to try to, win prizes and do things as well. But I think for me, the my experiences are more so group experiences, and it especially with, like, round 1, going to the arcade, trying UFO machines and everything else, darts, then going up to, do some bowling, just a really, really cool and great experiences. So, I'm a big fan. I wish I had more chances and opportunities to experience, arcades, but next time, and this new website you told us about, Jen.
Yep, have fun with that.
Absolutely.
look out for the Crew of Japan Twitch
I
streaming.
know.
Oh,
That'd be pretty
jeez.
cool.
Jen's gonna run that one, right, Jen?
Yeah.
No, I'm not running
You
a
have you
squat.
have the skill. So, and with
Sensei.
yeah, I know, right? So, with you, Jen, what's your, what are some good experiences that come to mind for you?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I feel like some good experiences I've had were probably in a group more so because like if I couldn't get it, but I really wanted something, so, like, for example, there was, like, a Hatsune Miku winter edition plushie, and I was like, "I want it." If I couldn't get it, someone else would grab the controls and get it for me, and that would work out. It's a good because I do go by myself sometimes. I went by myself once because there was nothing else to do, and I was trying to just get out and about, not be cooped up in my room all the time. And it's really good. It kills time. Um I mean, I'm a huge anime fan, so you see a bunch of anime stuff and you're like, I want that. So you don't feel like you're wasting too much time. But yeah, good experiences. I mean, I've won quite a few things. Now, I will say, because I never lived in Japan, I'm always coming back to the US. I try to aim for the smaller prizes. Don't go for the bigger prizes because you're not going to be able to bring it back home unless you buy like an extra suitcase just for that one thing.
Great point.
Yeah.
Or I know some people who won things when I was there, and they shipped it back home,
Yeah.
if whatever, whatever for whatever that's worth. But
Yeah,
yeah.
you could do that too. I think for shipping, I think a student of mine like spent $40 on shipping. So just watch out for that.
Look around. Obviously, right now is different because of with pandemic shipping prices and restrictions and whatnot. I think it's a little bit more open now than it was before. But yeah, they have a lot of variety of shipping options out there. Some cheaper than others. So just keep that in mind
Yeah.
when you do pick if you have things you want to ship abroad.
Yeah, if you're trying to go for those bigger things. But if you're going for like smaller plushies and maybe like one or two figures, you should be able to pack that in like one of your suitcases or something.
Oh,
Um,
that reminds me.
hmm,
I won a takoyaki cooker out of a claw machine.
nice. I've seen those.
That sorry, it just triggered my memory of shipping things home because I was joking about like it was too heavy to put in a suitcase and we had to leave it with my sister-in-law. So because
Nice.
it was like an actual, I don't know how we won it because again, it was heavy.
Wow.
I don't know.
That's pretty
I don't know. It just
amazing.
kind of tipped over and fell. It was one of those type of things. But
I've
yeah,
never
it
won
was
anything like that, but I've won food items before, like candy and chips.
yeah,
I've won candy and chips before. And obviously, I just ate those in Japan. I didn't bring them home, so.
yeah.
But yeah, but that's it for this episode. Thanks guys for hanging on for this topic. I know this wasn't your forte, but I really really wanted to talk about Japanese arcades because I always love a good challenge, and Japanese arcades is where you can find a good challenge. So,
Hey, you might need to try some sports out, watching sports more then, huh?
oh, good. Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Maybe next time.
But yeah, so guys, thank you for joining me on this little journey. I hope our listeners got a lot of information from this, and will be really encouraged to try some crane games when they go to an arcade. When travel happens, or if they want to,
Or Toreba.
yeah, if they want to give Toreba a try, like I said, it's legit. They send you your prizes, so it's a good website. It's reliable.
Do they charge shipping if you win? How much is
I don't
okay?
remember.
Or is that
I
incorporated
don't
in the
remember. It was such a long time
All right.
ago. I don't remember. I have no
We'll have
clue,
to
We'll have
find
to
that
do
honestly.
some
out.
digging.
Yeah, absolutely. But absolutely, it was fun. Always a blast. And that's a wrap on this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's journey through the Japanese arcade. We hope you learned a lot. And next time you're in Japan, hopefully this episode will help you to win big at the Japanese arcades you visit. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Krewe of Japan. That's KREWEOFJAPAN. If you have some extra time, give us a rating on your favorite podcast app. As always, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for joining us this week, and we'll catch you next week on the Krewe of Japan podcast.